Justin Hunt from the Entertainment Outlet, and I'm here with the iconic David Ellefson, co-founder of Megadeth, as well as Jeff Young, former Megadeth guitar player. Guys, welcome to Massachusetts.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. It's no secret that there's plenty of former Megadeth members, and some of the guys, they like to step away, have some quiet time. Dave, you've been busier than probably anybody, and so it's great to see you out here, you and Jeff together now as the Kings of Thrash. And so I was just wondering, for maybe people who don't know what kind of the origin of you guys getting back together and bringing all these old songs back out is.
It's funny you asked that. Right before the interview started, some guys were throwing down, "Killing is my business, so far so good, so what." I appeared at the Chiller Theater over here in New Jersey, it would have been 23, I think, right? And it just hit me, my God, Megadeth had just come through. It was the first time me not being in the band at that time. It was 2021, I guess. And I was just going, my God, here we are. These songs never get played. They're probably never going to get played. And a couple months later, me and Jeff get reconnected again through the Nick Menza documentary that we're both a part of. And we get in the studio, we start writing some new material. He had a riff from 1988 that was from the So Far So Good So What tour writing session that would have eventually become Rust in Peace, right? So we started just getting all this stuff back out on the table. And an opportunity came for he and I to play together at the Ultimate Jam at the Whiskey in Hollywood. And Jeff rang me up to come out. We did. And man, the spark just happened. We already had this chemistry in the studio. And now out of nowhere, this spark happened, and man, it was the shot heard wonder world. And that started the whole thing. And Chaz Leon happened to be our singer that they put together. Fred, our drummer, had been played that night with another ensemble, and Jeff saw that, so he grabbed him and brought him in, and it's like a band was born, just serendipitously, random things the universe provided for us, and here we are.
Live at the Whiskey a Go-Go, a band is formed.
Yeah, that's that. Good point. That is why when we did our little 4 shows, kind of this little proof of concept to prove to everybody that we got something here, and the Whiskey was sold out. And Jeff and I aren't guys that played the Whiskey back in our days with Megadeth, and in those days it was a whole different era, of course, But so for us to come back all these years later, play a sold out show. And I think it was actually Jeff's idea to record that night because they have a filming and recording capability there. So we grabbed it, we captured it. That was our 4th show. And Cleopatra Records put that out for us, the Best of the West, live from the Whiskey a Go-Go. And that, that gave us a recorded moment, forever time-stamped now. And that really gave some legitimacy to what we were doing here.
So David, you and I last spoke at TerraCon about 8 or 9 years ago. And I was looking back at our interview, and you actually mentioned that a lot of people were coming up to you and saying, the first time I saw you was here in Providence on, So Far So Good So What.
Yeah.
So it's fitting that now you guys are out here representing that album. And so I want to know what it's like for you guys, especially Jeff, after all these years, to not be playing the Megadeth music. What's it like for you guys to play these songs that you haven't in so long?
It's like riding a bike, brother. It's amazing to be playing them because the songs are very athletic. They're fun to play. That's what was fun about it in our 20s. It's still fun now. And we've grown so much as musicians and people to come back to the songs with a new set of eyes and ears and fingers and approach it as a more seasoned musician. It's a lot. Because we're better players, we can play it more effortlessly and have more fun with it. It's a blast. And then diving into all the old deep cuts. Some of them we never even played back in the day.
Totally, yeah.
It's a unique experience. We feel it's kind of a unicorn band.
And I'll say this. We started that tour with Dio, Megadeth, and Sabotage. I think we started it in Providence, Rhode Island. Right. Now, we had done some warm-up dates on the West Coast. It's actually where we took the photos on the back of the album, was at the Tacoma Dome up in Washington. But the real tour kicked off right here in this part of the country. And then we went up to Canada, where we just were over the weekend. So Jeff and I are getting to revisit this entire This was the origin story for he and I and our musical journey together from 1988, and here we are.
And I didn't know that till he just said it, so it puts a new wrinkle on tonight's show, doesn't it?
Now, are there any songs from back then that were especially exciting for you guys to bring out? And at the same time, are there any that you haven't that, maybe going forward, this is sort of on your mind? Like, maybe next time we'd like to, pull out, X song.
We never played Into the Lungs of Hell live, did we? Did we ever?
Couple
times. Did we play it? Okay.
The drugs got bad pretty quick, so we had to yank that out of it.
I mean, for me, Mary Jane is the one for me. I don't know what Jeff says.
I love Mary Jane because it's so... there's a lot of rapid-fire changes and syncopation, and it's a really unique lyric. I love the whole lyrical vibe and how the song builds. So, everyone's every interview, what's your favorite Megadeth song? And I always say Mary Jane.
And so now, moving forward, you guys have just released a new single, Bullets Ready. And so at what point in this process do you guys decide to, record something new? And do you guys have plans for more material moving forward?
Well, we recorded Bullets Ready, and the great news is no one can say it's AI, because there was no AI when we wrote Bullets Ready 3-4 years ago. When we started writing originals. I came in with 2, we demoed them. A couple months later, David came back to LA with 2. We finished those off, demoed them. So that all happened before the Ultimate Jam or any Kings of Thrash. We never planned on playing any Megadeth. We just wanted to make an EP of new originals. So that song's been sitting on the back burner. You got to let songs write themselves. You can't force it. You can't put your ego on it and try to mold and shape it. You got to just allow. And so we kind of got sidetracked with the whole Megadeth thing and learning all these albums in their entirety is no small chore. But now that we've been out doing that, and then Lockdown came out, of course, Chaz wrote most of that. And that was a great first experience for him, and I think he did a great job. That was actually written after the first 4. So Bullets Ready was written long ago. We put the newest song out first. Now we've gone back, and Bullets Ready just seemed lyrically, with everything that's going on in the world, it seemed so timely and apropos that we couldn't resist. And we were out on tour with Red Devil Vortex opening for us, and Ace Frehley had just died. And Gabriel Connor, the singer-bass player for Red Devil Vortex, huge Kiss fan, we kept bringing him out every night on the tour for Cold Gin. And so his participation in the song grew organically out of our Kiss jams every night on tour. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be dropping a live video on Kings of Thrash YouTube of the Cold Gin track.
Oh, great.
A week or 2, it's being mixed right now, so stand by for that.
So, David, as a bass player myself, it's hard for me to think of another bass player who is more aligned with Jackson guitars. There's not many out there that have had quite the career that you have, and so I was just kind of wondering, what is it about Jackson that has kept you with them for so long?
I think part of it is it's a great performance bass, right? The body is a little smaller than like a traditional Fender, right? It fits my body well, and it's got a very fast, shreddy kind of neck, which for the stuff we were doing back in the 80s when we were writing this stuff, man, this stuff was hard to play, and you couldn't play it on a normal traditional kind of like a Fender bass or a Rickenbacker or any of that stuff. You just couldn't play it, and I've owned those instruments and I love them and they all have a place, but Jackson was just a moment in time. There's a reason that Grover Jackson and Wayne Charvel, that they got their instruments in the hands of so many of those kind of Sunset Strip musicians, between Rat and Rough Cut and, then Jakey Lee and just that, Brad Gillis. I mean, that was just a moment where they were making, it's like a car. They were making the Ferrari of that day, because that moment in time.
Let's not forget Randy Rhoads.
Randy, the origin story, right? That's
right.
Really where it started. It's funny. I just saw the order form of the earliest guitars of Jackson Guitars, and the very first one they ever made was for KK Downing. Yeah, and And then Randy, of course, yeah. And the hit list was like, oh my God, really? They made it, and they were active. They were going. I did artist relations for Peavey, so I know how this drill works. But you need to get your instruments in the hands of players of influence. We call them, right? People who aren't just good players, but people who will influence other people. And I mean, no one more than Randy Rhoads. I mean, my gosh. So, when it came into Megadeth. Dave and I went out to Grover, had him, he took a Robin Crosby King V, added 2 extra frets, and that became Dave's King V, the 24-fret version of that. And my bass was kind of a standard issue, but I did as many hybrids, or, like upgrades, the binding in the neck, which I really liked the feel of that. And the silver, the Quicksilver has basically become my color at Jackson Guitars. So, when I came back to it, the sound of the band changed a bit in the 90s. I moved into some other things, Spectre, Modulus. But, in 2010, when I went back to the band, we were doing Rust in Peace. It seemed the perfect time to re-up, and it's the sound of, it's quite honestly, it's a big part of the sound of Megadeth. When I play it, it just feels natural. I mean, on stage with us, I think for these songs, for this particular band with Kings of Thrash, we need the, no pun intended, the proper bullets in the chamber. You know what I mean, to make it work. So it's a good fit for me. And you're right. Visually, I want to see Steve Harris with a West Ham. I want to see Geddy with the blue and white or black and white Rickenbacker. There's just some. Jimmy Page / with a Les Paul. This is just it's part of the uniform.
Exactly.
So I think for me, that's what Jackson has become for me. It's it's a battle axe. It's part of the uniform.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for taking some time tonight.
Our pleasure.
Looking forward to the show. We're happy you guys are here, and rock out.
Yeah, man.
Enjoy.